Welcome to the show. White man down. The attack against Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, over his alleged racist rant. What's behind the new love affair between Saudi Arabia and Iran? And what does this mean for Israel? Even a California U.S. House Democrat says he may vote to impeach DHS Secretary Mayorkas, and a reporter from Africa berates Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre for not calling on him in 7 months. She was not pleased. Let's revisit what Scott Adams, the creator of the comic strip Dilbert, said that got the strip canceled in so many outlets.
Well, Rasmussen poll, provocative little poll today, they said, do you agree or disagree with the statement, it's okay to be white? 26% of blacks said, no, it's not okay to be white. 21% weren't sure. Add them together, that is 47% of black respondents were not willing to say it's okay to be white. So I realized, as you know, I've been identifying as black for a while, years now, because I like to be on the winning team, and I like to help. And I always thought, well, if you help the black community, that's sort of the biggest lever. You know, you can find the biggest benefit. So I thought, well, that's the hardest thing and the biggest benefit. So I'd like to focus a lot of my life resources in helping black Americans. So much so that I started identifying as black to just be on the team I was helping. But as of today, I'm going to re-identify as white because I don't want to be a member of a hate group. I'd accidentally joined a hate group, and I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the away. Wherever you have to go, just get away. Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. So I think it makes no sense whatsoever as a white citizen of America to try to help black citizens anymore. It doesn't make sense. It's no longer a rational impulse. And so I'm going to back off from being helpful to black America because it doesn't seem like it pays off. Like I've been doing it all my life, and the only outcome is I get called a racist.
Well, the fit hit the shan. Scott Adams is a racist. Now, I wrote a piece about this in which I said, the attack against Adams is unwarranted. The man is frustrated. Why? He's frustrated over so many blacks complaining that they are perpetual victims of oppression. And frustration is not racism. And here's what he said on his podcast in response.
I didn't want to do an interview with anybody who was too friendly to my side or my point of view. So I've been turning down everybody who asked, and there's a lot of them, until I got a request from Larry Elder. Now, Larry Elder, I imagine, because he's on the conservative side, that he would say, all right, what you're saying is important. Let's talk about it. Maybe it was taken out of context. Now, I know he will say something like that because he wrote an article that got a lot of play in which he seemed to have a full understanding of my situation that was good for me. I mean, in other words, if you understood the situation, you would describe it in a way that doesn't make me look bad. So he wrote an article that was his actual opinion, I'm sure, and it was a positive for me. When Larry Elder asked me if I wanted to be on his podcast, what did I say? I said some version of, damn it, Larry Elder, you magnificent bastard. You got me. I can't say no to that because I operate on a reciprocity operating system. Larry Elder also operates on a reciprocity operating system. Why did he write a good article about me? Well, partly because he believed it. I'm sure it's exactly what he thinks. But he might also remember that I endorsed him for governor when he ran in the recall election against Newsom. So I did something for him that he didn't ask for. When I got in trouble, not a surprise, He's not the only person who emerged to do something for me just because sometime in the past I'd done something for them. The reciprocity operating system is magic. It's what gets Larry Elder successful, in part. I'm sure that I'll bet you if you asked Larry Elder, just use him as an example, if you said, do you believe that this has helped you, the tools for success that I just described, what do you think he'd say? He would say yes, and I'm not reading his mind. Because everybody who has his kind of success, which is quite notable, uses the same tools. And everybody who's not happy and not doing well are focusing on the past, focusing on grievances, focusing on what somebody else owes them, and focusing on how the system is going to prevent them from succeeding because it's all stacked against them.
Now, one more thing. This white, woke author, professor, and activist, her name is Robin DiAngelo, invented a term called white fragility. In fact, she wrote a book called White Fragility, Why It's So Hard for White People to Talk About Racism. In this webinar, she is agreeing with Mr. Adams, only she's not being sarcastic. It's not hyperbole. She's not being wry. She's being deadly serious. Watch this.
And then I'm a big believer in affinity space and affinity work. And I think people of color need to get away from white people and have some community with each other. And I'll let that go and maybe see if anyone else wants to pick it up.
Now, what's the over-under on when this guilty white woman pushing for a new Jim Crow gets canceled? I'm betting on never. Please welcome Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert. Scott, I got to tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed Dilbert, but I got to tell you, I had no recollection of you supporting me for governor. That ain't why I wrote my column. I wrote my column because I thought the pile-on against you was unfair.
But I like that you highlighted that because I think people missed that the whole point was about mindset. And what I was talking about is not somebody's DNA. I'm not talking about somebody's color. I was talking about the fact that the country has decided on this narrative that's sort of a backwards looking, let's look at history and feel bad about it. And, you owe us something because of history. That can't work in any situation. Won't work in business, won't work for you personally. And so the thing that makes me crazy is that you have, not you, but the world knows the set of tools that work, and they're all forward focused. Reciprocity, gratitude, optimism, can-do attitude, affirmations. It's all forward looking. And I think the Black community is suffering under a narrative that's coming from everywhere, from the schools, from the corporations, from the media, that the problem is white people, specifically white men. And so I think that creates a situation where the logical endpoint of that, now obviously I was using hyperbole to kind of scare people and shock them and get them to pay attention. But the obvious...
Well, it sure worked.
It worked. way better than I expected. I thought it would sort of stay within my audience who understands I like to provoke and then circle back with something useful, which is what you saw on the whiteboard. But it didn't work when it got into the bigger world.
Now, Scott, a couple of things. 26% of Blacks said it's not okay to be white. 21% said they have no idea. So it really was 47% that said it's not okay or we have no idea. The majority of Blacks said it's okay to be white. By majority, I mean 53%, which is still low. And by the way, you let escape the 20% of whites who said either it was not okay to be white or they weren't sure. What about those people?